Hello and welcome to episode 4 of the Unrefined Jagoff. I'm your host, Ian Cavelli. For any first-time listeners, or if you're a returning listener and still don't get it, the podcast is a collection of my stories, quotes, ramblings, or whatever I feel like filling the time with. I just recently celebrated my 28th birthday, which means I won't be joining the 27 Club. I don't know if that's an early indicator that I'm not a Jimi Hendrix-type musical icon, but maybe the 0 downloads of my music in the last few years would be a more obvious indicator of this. Also, I haven't played a show in 3 years, and my most successful show was when I made $80 back in 2008. You know, over 9 years ago. I had a good birthday though. I mostly ate a lot, and my girlfriend, Christina, got me this new microphone, so if it sounds a lot better, you can thank her. Birthdays are weird as an adult because everyone wants you to plan something around everyone's schedule, even though all I usually want is a day to play more than 20 minutes of video games or guitar for once. But my last 3 birthdays have been pretty good. Last year I had to work, but I saw Mark Lanigan and ate a lot. The year before that I took an entire week off of work and ate a lot. The year before that I think I ate a lot? I don't know, I'm having a hard time understanding how calendars work, but the birthday before I started dating Christina, I went out with a group of people I used to work with to Rosemont. We all went to some club or bar that they always hung out at and danced. I didn't really want to go because I hate clubs and dancing and I'm an old man, but I was trying to get myself out of the house more and be less of a hermit. That was a short phase of my life. When we got there, I was already uncomfortable, so I just started pounding beers thinking, oh, maybe I'll loosen up enough for this to be more fun. From what I can remember, or at least piece together, I eventually was comfortable enough to dance with some people, but I was wasted at this point and just pretty much started grinding on people's butts. I think I remember yelling in someone's face, "This my jam!" when Tupac's California Love came on. At some point, I ended up going to the bathroom, and when I came out, everyone I came in with instantly vanished. I went to pay my tab and couldn't seem to explain to the bartender that she had my credit card behind the bar. From how I remember it, she was an idiot, and I was explaining it perfectly, so we'll go with my version. Eventually, she figured it out, and I proceeded to stumble through the parking lot to my car, still extremely drunk. On the way, I passed a cop, keys in my hand, so I just tried to look like I was looking really hard for my car and not too drunk to see clearly. And that worked. And it worked again on the next level of the parking garage. My guess is that the cops probably noticed and just didn't care. After probably 10 minutes of wandering around, clicking the panic button on my keys, I finally found my car. As drunk as I wasn't too stupid to try driving. Instead, I laid in the back seat of my car, locked the doors, and put a coat over myself and fell asleep. When I woke up, the sun was out, it was 5 a.m., and I didn't feel good at all. I popped up in the back seat, like that board game, Don't Wake Daddy, from Parker Brothers, opened the back door, leaned over the outside of the car, and started waterfalling vomit. As I'm doing this, a guy walks down the aisle and yells, "Damn, you okay?" And I said through the middle of a stream of puke, "Yeah, I'm fine." And he went on his way. I sat there for a few minutes just muttering to myself things like, "Oh, I feel like shit. What the hell? Why?" Or something, I don't remember. Then I just jumped into the front seat and tried to drive home. Started my car up and it started sputtering because I was about to run out of gas. Somehow, with barely enough gas to make it anywhere, I made it to a station after getting myself lost a few times. Tried not to throw up again while filling up my tank, and got ready to make an excruciatingly long drive home, which took about probably an hour or so. When I finally got home, I was greeted by my dad having breakfast and watching TV, and I can't remember our conversation verbatim, but it was basically like, "Hey son, you were out late. You look like hell. Blah, blah, blah." Then I'm just like, "I'm hungover. Stop yelling. I'm going to sleep." Then I slept till noon. Dialing the clock back a lot further, my middle school, brother's high school, and sister's graduation all landed in the same year. Not sure how close this was to my actual birthday, but it has a good example of how I either ruin everything or that not everyone's a fan of my sense of humor. Before the combined graduation party, I went to the grocery store with my dad to pick up the cakes for my brother and sister. When my dad loaded the cake into the cart, I noticed that instead of saying congratulations to my sister for graduating from Clemson, it said Lemson. I looked at it for a minute and laughed, trying not to point it out to my dad. Once we got to the car, Dad took a better look at the cake and basically said, "Lemson? Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs." Okay, maybe he didn't say any of that, but he said something about going back into the store and having them fix it, and I stopped him and I insisted, "No, keep it. It's funny. It's going to be funny." When my sister found out, she didn't think it was funny. She was pissed, actually. I don't think she ever really got over it. Yep, one letter missing on a cake. I mean, I also made my parents miss her cheerleading thing or whatever because I was busy being born. Sorry for being born, Sarah. I think the birthday everyone in my family remembers most and never lets me forget about is my 5th birthday. We have a lot of it on video, unfortunately, from me saying things like, "More stinking clothes," and "Go to hell, you stupid bird," at a toy parrot, and for some reason I always sound like baby Scarface. Then the most embarrassing part was when my mom recorded me with shaving cream 5s on my ass singing, "I am 5 today, oink," and I dropped the towel covering my wiener at the end. Of course, just a couple of years later, my brother and sister thought it'd be a good idea to show the video to all the kids in our neighborhood, so I think I still owe them some payback. Actually, I don't know any of those people anymore, but whatever. Let's take a break. Still no sponsors, guys. Mail me a manila folder full of cash, checks, money orders, gold doubloons, rare Sega Master System cartridges dipped in platinum, or whatever to me. I'm poor. Tell your friends. Share on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or whatever social medias exist now. Don't forget to write me a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts. Anyway, back to the show. With BuzzFeed-type websites clogging up more internet than porn these days, everything is about nostalgia anymore. Crap only 90s kids will understand. Quiz to see which cat dog character you are. You got cat! You are so quirky. Which sister totally has to go? You know, basically just a bunch of crap you click on to rot your brain cells away. We all do it from time to time. We like to think about crap that we thought was cool when we were kids because our adult lives are sad, but it's just getting out of hand. Not everything from the 90s was red as pogs, dude. Now, as an example, I'd like to bring attention to a 90s Nickelodeon show that, probably for good reason, isn't remembered by many. I just recently thought about how stupid it was, and without any fact-checking or research, I'll explain how I remember the show. The show is called either Cousin Skeeter or My Cousin Skeeter. I don't completely remember, but what's important is the main character's cousin's name is Skeeter. You know, one that skeets. One who skeets. Whichever it is. The plot of the show is mostly that his cousin Skeeter is some kind of idiot that fucks everything up, and that's pretty much the whole show. So, you may be asking, why do I remember this show then? Because cousin Skeeter was a damn puppet! The rest of the entire cast was not, and I don't feel like they ever addressed it in the show, which is weird because it clearly was weird. So, that means I'm assuming one of 3 things. 1, main character kid's aunt or uncle banged a puppet, meaning he has a puppet aunt, uncle, or both. Somewhere in that family tree, someone banged a puppet. 2, Skeeter's adopted. 3, they couldn't afford to have another child actor play Skeeter, so they just made one actor play one character as well as a puppeteer for Skeeter. But my money is on his uncle banged a puppet. So next time you're romanticizing how great the 90s were, remember that there was a show about Cousin Skeeter. Also, TV on Saturday afternoons after all the good cartoons were over kinda sucked. Pretty much once Power Rangers ended, they started playing reruns on Knight Rider. And on Nickelodeon, they started playing reruns of Double Dare, Wild and Crazy Kids, Do you have it, guts? Hey, dude. And all the other kids' sitcoms that really aren't as great as you remember them. Some of them aren't that bad, it's just that they really aren't that great either, and they're not any better than the stuff we call crap now. One show that I felt like ran for 14 seasons and was on every single Saturday when I was a kid was My Brother and Me. The reality of it is, I probably only saw it a handful of times, and it was only on the air for one season. The theme song went something like, boop bop beep, boop bop beep, or something. I could never tell if it was a keyboard or someone singing My Brother and Me in a really weird way. I rewatched an episode a couple years ago, and honestly, it's an okay show. It's basically just a show about this dumb kid and his dumb little brother, or a dumb little kid and his dumb older brother. Either way, it was a pretty relatable show to me and my brother, I guess, except that we both looked more like the little brother's nerdy white friend. And I can't remember any of their names, except for their dumbass friend Goo. His name was Goo, hopefully legally. He was the dumb kid that had bad schemes that got everyone in trouble. I pretty much only remember 2 episodes. One, I think maybe they were doing trying to market a product for a class or something. I seriously can't remember anything about the episode other than there was a daydream of Goo where he has himself going on stage and rapping, 1 + 1 is always 2. I'm Goo with a treat for you. Goo punch. All right, now Goo punch. All the ladies, Goo punch. All the fellas. And that's pretty much it. The other episode I remember revolves around the younger brother watching a music video for a guy that looked like a character from a rejected House Party sequel, and his name was Cool Dr. Money. He had Cool Dr. Money and a $ shaved into his head, I think. The little brother went on for like 15 minutes of the episode trying to convince people like his mom to give him a Cool Dr. Money haircut. So he says, Cool Dr. Money haircut, at least 100 times. Then that idiot Goo is all like, since your mom won't let you get this idiotic haircut, I'll do it with some dog trimmers. And he ends up looking like shit. It's something along those lines. Long story short, the mom finds out, shaves his head bald, and he looks like a dork. I could go on for hours about the dumb TV shows I watched as a kid, because honestly I spent most of my childhood in front of the TV, which is probably why I'm dumb. But these are just 2 of the shows that I felt the need to remind people of, because no one I talk to ever seems to remember them. Let's just face it though, I mean, the internet sucked up until broadband. You could barely spend more than an hour online with dial-up without someone calling or disconnecting you, so TV, video games, and VHS tapes were pretty much the go-to entertainment. There was always prank calls because no one had caller ID yet, but I wasn't good at those. One time as a kid, I tried to prank call AT&T. I didn't even have a joke lined up, so it was pretty much just me nervously giggling like, hello? And the lady on the line was just like, please hang up. So that didn't go so well. My parents actually canceled Cartoon Network when we lived in Ohio because they thought we would never leave the house. Joke's on them, I still wouldn't go outside. I mean, what else was I gonna do? Hang out with a little douchebag kid across the street? Sure, he had Mortal Kombat, but he never let me drive his Power Wheels car. And they called his little brother Booter. Booter! What kind of name is that? It's worse than Skeeter or Goo. Also, one time my family took him to some place with an arcade, and he kept trying to get more money out of my mom to play games. We weren't rich, kid. But I guess that's what you do as a kid. Hang out with people you don't like so you can play with their toys and make fun of them later in life when you're 28, broke, and hate your life. Anyway, that's it for this episode of the Unrefined Jagoff. Remember to subscribe, rate, and share. Follow me at Unrefined Jagoff, all one word, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and whatever else I'm forgetting to include. Again, I'm your host, Ian Cavelli. All recording and production is done by me in my bedroom studio. Music by Satan's Basement, which I guess is also me. And remember, as always, support the arts, humanities, public radio, your local comic book stores and other local businesses, and of course, each other. Don't be dicks to each other, show empathy, and be a good person where it counts. That's all for now, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this episode. See you next time, Jagoffs! Hey folks, it's me, Mark Marin. How you doing? What the jagoffers, jagoffs, unrefiners, jagoffs? Yeah, this is my show. The end. Goodbye.